family, my name is Angel and I would like to thank you for tuning into another amazing worship experience. To all of our first-time guests, we love and appreciate you and we're so happy to have you with us today. This sermon series, Uncut Gems, has been truly amazing and eye-opening. Today we are going to take things to a whole nother level. You are going to see real and raw conversations from people who have been through the fire and discovered that they were uncut gems. I believe that what you hear today will change your perspective and you'll realize that you too are an uncut gem. Before you get comfortable, make sure you push the share button to share this encouraging moment with your family and friends.
Water you turned into wine. Open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you, none like you. And you're into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you, yes, none like you. Water you turn into wine, say. Oh yes.
Open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you.
None like you, yes. Say, into the darkness you shine.
Into the darkness you shine.
And out of the ashes we rise.
Out of the ashes we rise.
No one like you.
No one like you.
I'm gonna say, none like you.
None like you.
One voice said, our God is greater. You said,
Our God is greater.
Yeah.
Our God is stronger.
Oh, yes.
You are higher than any
Our God
other.
is healer.
Our God is healer.
Hey.
Awesome in power. Our God.
Our God.
Our God.
Everybody clap your head. Yeah. Water you turn into wine, say.
Water turned into wine.
And open the eyes of the blind.
Open the eyes of the blind.
No one like you.
No one like you.
Everybody say, none like you. Say, into the darkness you shine, say.
Into the darkness you shine.
And out of the ashes we rise up.
The ashes we rise.
No one like you.
No one like you.
Come on, say, none like you.
None like
Our God is greater, you say.
Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. Lord, you are higher than any
Our
other.
God a healer.
Our God is healer. Awesome in power. Our God.
Our God.
Our God.
Our God is greater, you say, yeah.
Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. Lord, you are higher than any
Our
other.
God a healer.
Our God is healer.
Hey.
Awesome in power. Our God.
Our God.
Our God.
And if our God is for us, say.
And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is
What
with
could
us,
stand against?
then what could stand
And if our
against?
God
And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop
And
us?
if our God is
And
with
if our
us,
God is with
what could
us,
stand against?
then what could stand
And if our
against?
God-
And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop
if our
us?
God is with
And if our God is
What
with
could
us,
stand
then
against?
what could stand
And if our
against?
God
And
is-
if our God is for us, then who could ever stop
if our
us?
God is with
And
us,
if our God is
what
with
could stand
us,
against?
then what could stand against?
Come on, everybody sing it out. Say, what could stand against?
Then what could stand against?
Pause, come on. Say, what could stand against?
Then what could stand against?
Come on, everybody sing it out where you are. Say, what could stand?
Then what could stand against?
Hey, say, take it up. Say, what could stand? Said what can stand?
Then what can stand against?
Oh, come on. Said our God is greater. You say
Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. Lord, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer.
Awesome in
Awesome
power.
in power. Our God. Our God.
is greater. Say
Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. Lord, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer. Awesome in power. Our God.
our God.
Our God.
One more time, say our God is greater. Our God is stronger. Lord, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God.
We know in this time, in this season that we are in, there's a lot of negativity, a lot of hardship, a lot of heartache, a lot of just low moments that we're experiencing as a nation. But what better way than the kingdom can rise and decree and declare that I'm still expecting great things. So where you are right now, in your living room, on your cell phone, on your computer, your laptop, just begin to say, I'm expecting great things. Just say that again. Come on, say, I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. When you sing it out, I'm expecting great things. Come on, sing this song with us if you know it. I'm expecting great things. Oh, I'm expecting great things. Oh, I'm expecting great things. Great things. Say I'm expecting great things. Oh, I'm expecting great things. Oh, I'm expecting great things. Great things. Decree it, come on. In my life, you do great things. You do great things. In my home, you do great things. You do great things. All around, you do great things. You do great things. Listen, eyes haven't seen, I choose to believe in you. Say
Great thing.
come on, everybody sing it out in this place. Come on. Oh, say
I'm expecting great things.
oh,
I'm
yeah.
expecting great things.
Everybody say
I'm expecting great things.
say great things.
Great things.
Come on, where you are right now. Everybody say
I'm expecting great things.
oh,
I'm expecting great things.
everybody sing
I'm expecting great things.
say great things.
Great things.
Now we want y'all to decree and declare this. Come on, sing it out. Say in my life,
In my life,
you do great things.
you do
Yeah.
great things.
In my home,
In my
choose to believe in you. Say
Eyes haven't seen.
hey.
I choose to believe.
Eyes haven't seen.
Eyes haven't seen. I choose to believe.
Eyes haven't seen.
Eyes haven't seen.
I choose to believe in.
Choose to believe it.
Everybody sing a great thing.
Great thing.
Come on, everybody celebrate His name today. It's a great
thing.
Take it up. Say oh, say oh, say oh, say oh. Everybody say
I'm expecting great things.
oh, yeah.
I'm expecting great things.
Everybody say
I'm expecting great things.
say great,
Great things.
great thing.
Great things.
Everybody say
I'm expecting great things.
oh,
I'm expecting great things.
everybody say
I'm expecting great things.
say great things,
Great things.
great things.
Great things.
Say expecting great things. Oh, I'm expecting great things. Say I'm expecting great things. Sing it out. Great. If the altar's where you need us, take me there, take me there. If you're looking for an offering, it's right here. My life is here, and I'll be a living sacrifice for you. You're a fire, the refiner. I wanna be consumed. I wanna be tried by fire, purified. You take whatever you desire. Lord, here's my life. I wanna be tried by fire, purified. You take whatever you desire. Lord, here's my life.
If your glory wants to come in, let it fall. We want it all. Your fire is consuming. Fill this place, set it ablaze, and I'll be a living sacrifice for you. You're a fire, the refiner. I wanna be consumed. I wanna be tried by fire, purified. You take whatever you desire. Lord, here's my life. I wanna be tried by fire, purified. You take whatever you desire. Lord, here's my life.
I wanna be tried by fire. Purify me.
Purify.
You take whatever you desire. Lord, here's my
Lord, here's my life.
I wanna be tried by fire. Lord, purify me.
Purify.
Lord, you take whatever you desire. Lord, here's my
Lord, here's
life. So clean my hands, purify my heart. I wanna burn for you, Lord, only for you. Oh, take my life as a sacrifice. I wanna burn for you, Lord, only for you, Lord. Clean my hands, purify my heart. I wanna burn for you, Lord, only for you. Take my life, take my life as a sacrifice. I wanna burn for you, only for you, Lord.
So clean my hands, purify my heart. I wanna burn only to
Take my life,
take it, Jesus. Take it, Jesus.
I wanna burn. Want to you, Lord,
only for you.
clean my hands, purify me,
Purify my heart.
purify
I wanna burn for you.
want to you, Lord.
Only for you. You're a fire, the refiner. I wanna be consumed. You're a fire, the refiner. I wanna be consumed. You're a fire, the refiner. I wanna be consumed.
Liberation Nation, what's going on, family? Listen, we are so excited to come to you this Sunday. Listen, we're doing something a little different today. As you all know, we're in the series Uncut Gems. And in that series, we're talking about being tested, being tried by the fire. And the reality is that I realize that we have some real life uncut gems in our congregation. That's right. There are some people in our congregation that have some really powerful testimonies, and their testimonies can actually preach this better than I can. So when I think about uncut gems, and when I think about resilience, when I think about perseverance, when I think about being sharpened, when I think about endurance and going through tough times and coming out as pure gold, I think about this couple, Minister Mario and Yvonna Wells. How y'all doing today?
We're doing well.
Pastor.
Wonderful, wonderful. So how long have y'all been with Liberation Church?
So we've been members of Liberation Church since 2013. So going on about 7 years.
Wow. Liberation Nation, listen, y'all got to give it up for that. 7 years in Liberation Church. Listen, I just want to pause and honor you two for your commitment, for your service, because guess what? We haven't agreed about everything over the last 7 years. Was that right?
That's absolutely right, Pastor.
But nonetheless, you all have stayed with us, and that's a testament to your character. I'm telling you guys, the season of being born, married, and buried in the same church are gone. This is a transient world now, and people typically don't stay in churches that long. But this couple has been with us for 7 years, and we honor you guys. Wow, that's amazing. So, fun fact, everyone, I actually performed you guys' wedding ceremony.
You did.
You did.
Yeah. That was just a beautiful, beautiful day. And I was just so proud of you guys and proud to be a part of that moment in your life. So let's fast forward a little bit. You guys get married. you guys join the church, you become leaders in the church. And then Mario, you actually ended up deciding to join the ministers training. Tell us a little bit about that.
For me, I just always shied away from anybody who put the proclamation into my spirit of saying that I was going to be a preacher.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be just Mario Wells. I wanted to, ascend in my career, and most importantly, I just wanted to, be a husband.
Yeah.
And not really have to deal with, the pressures of, having to be responsible for so many other people. So I shied away from it, and even as we became more involved in the church, I remember this midnight prayer back in July 2015, and you had prayed over me, and it was just really out of the Holy Spirit that night. And you said these very specific words of how my son would be a second generation pastor. And I was caught up in the spirit that night, and it really didn't register to me until maybe 3 days later, and I'm sitting around with Yvonna, and I said to her, did Pastor just say that I'm going to be a preacher? Like, why would he think that about me? And why would he, get that inclination that I'm destined to, lead and shepherd people? And from there, it was just, you and I having intimate conversations about just what that calling is going to be bestowed upon myself if, things go with what it was at the time.
Sure.
And just taking that class and just going through that class, I had to make a real pact with my wife to say, hey, are you ready for this life that we would have to embark upon? And there were some personal things going on in our household at the time, and I got the green light from her. And it just sort of all became reciprocal about how, God really brought her into my life and just the journey that I wanted to lead.
Wow. So right in this moment, you're dispelling a lot of myths, because number one, there's this myth that men don't want to come to church, right? There's this myth that, especially young adult men that are, for lack of better phrases, millennials, millennial men are not into church. Matter of fact, the alpha type man that is into sports and into all that kind of stuff, which you're an avid sports fan and avid ESPN guy, and we've had a lot of conversations about different things in sports. And you're not really expressive in terms of the typical preacher, right? The typical preacher is typically very expressive and things like that. But you have your own style, you have your own personality, you have your own way that you approach ministry, and it's effective. I will tell you that your heart for people is really inspiring. How much you care and the way you do your ministry is, again, it's extremely effective. And for all of you out there that are listening that just may feel like, well, I got to be a clone of if I'm going to be a preacher, or I got to get on YouTube and learn the mannerisms and learn how to be a preacher and all this. You don't have to do that. You can serve the Lord and you can be a minister in your own skin. You can be comfortable in your own skin and convey the gospel through your life and through your ministry just the way God gave it to you. So I'm really proud of you, man, in that. So Yvonna, you're kind of caught in the crosshairs with this, right? Because this changes you guys' whole life, right? This decision for him changes everything for you. Can you tell me how it has impacted your marriage, and how did you feel when he told you that, hey, I'm feeling called to the ministry?
It definitely didn't have a negative impact on me at all. I was excited. I was like, hey, work for the Lord, you got it.
Yeah.
Of course, my only ask was, don't forget your other responsibilities. Like, yes, keep God first in all you do and all we do, but don't forget your secular job, don't forget your home, don't forget me. And he definitely, in my eyes, he does just that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So again, another nugget that I want us to grab. This is a wife whose husband is making the call, answering the call to ministry. And from the onset, from the foundation, one of her prerequisites was that you got to keep home first. And I think a lot of times ministers miss that, because when we get in ministry, and especially when we start pastoring, so many people are pulling at us, so much is asking for our attention. And it's very important as young ministers that, number one, that you always prioritize your home and that you have balance in your life if you're going to pursue ministry. So that's amazing. So this is where the conversation gets a little dicey, because you all had some rough things happen, okay? And so Minister Mario, we've heard your story, but Yvonna, I want you to tell us, because if I'm not mistaken, 100 days after you all's wedding day,
Yes, sir.
you got some devastating news.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that news and walk us up to what you found out?
Sure. Well, it's crazy because it was a process. You know, we're always talking about the process of things. And this process began in, I think, June 2013?
14.
14. Oh, yeah, 14, I'm sorry. June 2014. And it started out with, I was having some balance issues. And I noticed I kept, at work on the job where I had been since June 2012, whenever I would walk through the lab, I kept knocking my right hip, and my balance, I kept leaning to the right. Why do I keep leaning to the right? It was really getting annoying. And I noticed, like, on the computer screen, my vision was like really blurry and spotty. I'm like, what? Like, why? I can't see the mouse like when I go here or there. So I went to my optometrist. From there, I went to an ophthalmologist, and then a neuro-ophthalmologist. And when I'm with the neuro-ophthalmologist, he basically says, I'm gonna refer you to my colleague. He is an MS specialist. We're not gonna say you have MS, but you know, just in case. And I'm like, what? And I wasn't totally clueless because in college at VCU, I took immunology. And in immunology, I learned about autoimmune deficiencies and stuff like that. And so I then went to see Dr. O, and that was my first MRI. And got my MRI, got the results, and then in the room at this point, it's me, Mario, my brand new husband, and my mom was there, of course. And he tells me that, you know, based on all that he's found, my diagnosis is multiple sclerosis. And I was diagnosed November 14th, 2014. Of course, that date is like ingrained.
So tell us how you felt. And I know that may seem like a lot to ask, but what were your raw emotions when you got that news?
Yeah, so when he said he's trying to talk professionally and tell me everything, and I followed him up until that point, and then literally it was like in a movie. It was like I heard like white noise, and it was like the Charlie Brown people, the wah 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 wah. And I just remember Mario was directly in front of me, my mom was beside him, and Dr. O was there. And of course, this is VCU, so there are, it's a teaching, like on the job training type school. So there were like 2 or 3 students observing. So we're all in the room together. And my mom, who is a registered nurse, thank God, she was still in her right mind to ask questions because I wasn't there. I had totally blacked out. And I believe Mario ran out during the time, but
So stop. So Mario ran out of the room?
He did, actually.
Minister, tell us about that. Why'd you have that reaction?
It was just a reaction that I didn't want to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, I think at that time, leading up to our marriage our wedding ceremony, you know, we just kept hearing from everyone about how great of a couple we were, how perfect we were, how, you know, so much of an inspiration we were to others. You know, I don't really take in too much or put myself on a pedestal of being greater than anyone, but in that very moment, I thought, why me, God? And why am I going to have to deal with this and take care of my wife when we're just starting out, you know, less than 100 days into our marriage?
Wow.
And, you know, just going back to the tenets of why I first married my wife is the fact that I wanted to be there for her. I wanted to be supportive. But at the same time, there were still some things professionally that I was still trying to pursue. Just given the fact that I just started my career, and there are just so many internal pressures that I put on myself of just excelling, and most importantly, just being able to do meaningful work in the community.
Yeah.
And I just needed a break. And it was actually my best friend's mother, Vanessa Colbert, who worked in the neurology department at MCV. And she sat by the front desk where we checked in, and I just ran straight to the elevator. And I remember her grabbing my arm when I hit the elevator button. And she told me, and she looked me right in my face and said, now's not the time to run. And now's not the time to be in any fear. And now is the time to honor and stay committed to your vows. And those words stuck with me that Friday morning. And I had to grow up really fast, and I had to put aside my own needs to make sure that I was doing a good job in supporting her.
Wow. So 100 days into your marriage, you find out you have MS. When you hear the news, you pretty much black out. Your husband runs out of the room. You just said something, Minister Mario, that's pretty fascinating. You said, why did this happen to me? And why that's fascinating is because you didn't receive the diagnosis. So you literally took your vows when it says for sickness and in health, and to become one flesh. You literally instinctively walked that out. And when she received the diagnosis, it was like you received the diagnosis. That's pretty fascinating. So explain to us, Yvonna, for those that don't know what MS is, what is MS and how does it affect your life?
Sure. So multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune deficiency. Autoimmune means the body attacks itself. So like lupus, for example, the body's attacking the muscle tissue. MS, the body is attacking the nervous system. So the first time I had a symptom like in public, it was at National Street. I was dancing at church, and after the song, I walked to the back where I normally would, to a little side room right behind the sound booth, and I'm crying because my right foot is numb. I cannot feel my right foot. And Mario, who's in the sound booth, he comes out and he's like, honey, what can I do? What do you need me to do? And he was like, do you want me to get Pastor Ashley? And I'm like, yes, get Pastor Ashley. And PA came back and she, she's rubbing my feet and she's praying for me, and I'm crying and it's very dramatic, but it was okay. I was okay. But that was like a little side story. What happened after the diagnosis, like after I went home and everything, I actually, of course, you do research automatically. So I'm doing all the research, and I saw that part of the diagnosis, in addition to the MRI, seeing the lesions on the brain and or spinal cord, was actually tests that can be done on your cerebral spinal fluid. So I said, oh, well, we haven't done that. I want to do that. So at this point, denial. I'm like, no, I ain't taking that. So the next test, I got the spinal tap. And that's funny in itself because, as you know, we don't have kids yet. So at that appointment, Mario was with me. He's always with me at my appointments. I'm on the table thing, and my doctor is doing the spinal tap. And it was very uncomfortable because obviously that's someone messing with your spine, and it's just like, no. And he's doing his thing, trying to find a spot to puncture me essentially and drain my brain juice. And I think when he finally found the right spot, I like jumped, and I'm just like, oh my God. I screamed and I kicked the wall in front of me, pushed onto Mario, and I think you might have yelled out. I think he was just trying to keep me calm.
I kept you calm. I was holding your hand.
Yeah, and when that happened, I looked at him and I said, honey, we're adopted. I ain't doing it. I can't do it. 'Cause I'm automatically thinking, the epidural.
Yeah,
for pregnant women, and I'm just like, nope, can't do this no more. I'm good. And years later, I'm just like, okay, I'm ready. When we gonna do this?
Wow.
But because of the current medication, there's kind of like a lull that I gotta wait for.
Wow.
But yeah, that's what happened.
Wow. So there's a lot happening here. 100 days into your marriage, you find out you have MS. Pretty life-altering news. Mario, you're growing in your faith. Yvonna, you're growing in your faith while all this is happening. Did this challenge your faith at all?
Yes.
Okay. Talk to us about that.
I'm trying to continue to trust because, someone who grew up in church, I know all the scriptures, I know all the sayings, but at the time it was like, I don't remember anything. I needed to find my Bible. Where's this at? It was tough. And also during this time, I'm thinking, obviously, I just got married. Now I feel like my husband married a broken wife. Like, thank you. Like, I didn't feel worthy or suitable to be anybody's wife. Yeah, I felt broken. And I didn't think it was fair to him.
Right.
But you know, like he says, he took it on like it was it was our diagnosis.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, as time goes on, new symptoms are coming up that I never had before. Like I always had the tinglies and the numbness in my like feet or hands. But then vertigo hit me really bad one day. Like I couldn't even go to work. I tried to get up and go to the bathroom and I just ended up on the floor because it was like the room was spinning.
Yeah.
It was really bad vertigo. I called my job and I was just like, I can't come in today because I can't even walk. So I'm not going to try to drive. It was pretty intense.
Wow. So all the young singles that may watch this, and even some couples, you may have to reconsider your idea of marriage, because marriage is not about perfection. It's not about having everything together. What marriage really is finding somebody that's willing to go through whatever life gives you, right?
Yes.
Because this, you could have never predicted. And while you may say, well, I felt like a broken woman or a broken wife, the reality is that you're perfect for him. And regardless of whatever God put in you all's path, the beauty in it is that you all have each other's back. And you can never take that for granted. And so, Minister Mario, tell us a little bit about your role in this, and how did you gain the strength, and how did you fulfill your responsibility as a husband?
So I remember this one day, like it was sometime in March of 2015, right after her diagnosis. And at this time I was on an alternative work schedule at my job, and I specifically made this arrangement with my supervisor so I can at least do half days on Mondays, which is typically her day off in the sense of her work schedule. And I came home to our apartment, and I was just really giddy and eager to spend some time with her. And I walked in the apartment door, and it was as if I was a complete stranger when I walked in. Yvonna did not want anything to do with me. Wow. She was, obviously going through some things emotionally and spiritually, but it was a real rejection that I felt in my spirit. And I mean, I don't think you said one word to me for 6 hours when I was inside the apartment. And it really just set off like a raw emotion. Like we got into a real argument. And it was through that moment where it was, I have to learn how to adapt to this. And I have to be able to pivot and go through the motions of things. Yeah. It's not easy. Sometimes, back then, I would question, again, why God, why am I going through this? Why am I, having to see my wife suffer? why couldn't it be me? And it was all the, the wrong things to be, putting into your spirit and into your attitude. But it was really the vision that God showed me that year of just being able to know that this is going to be a part of our journey.
Yeah.
And we don't have to be a victim to it, but that we can be a beacon of light, a true footprint for anybody that is going through these struggles as a couple.
Yeah.
And to remain intact with who we are at our hearts, of just being a couple that's strong in our faith.
Yeah.
And that we're being an encouragement to those that look like us.
Wow. So, Yvonna,
Yes.
you didn't speak to him for 6 hours. What was going on?
So I think during this time, this is like my first bout of depression / anxiety.
Yeah.
Just really trying to get a handle on this disease, this life now. So many weird things happen when there's a conflict with your nervous system. Yeah, and it can definitely mess you up emotionally.
So, when you look back on it, do you have any regrets on how you all handled it in the beginning?
I would say that it was the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trust the process.
I think, if I could just use an analogy of, your sermon series that you have this month, digging up for coal and raw resources is not something that someone just wants to sign up for.
Wow.
It's something that either you're forced into doing because you have to provide, or that it's something that it's out of your control, and that's the only thing that's available.
Wow.
And that process of finding the coal, being able to cultivate it, being able to make sure that you're using the right pressure, making sure that you're using the right temperature to really recreate something that even in its rawest form of a diamond, you still need to polish it. And it really was that process of, all right, how many times am I willing to polish my edges and to keep myself and to encourage my wife that this is a part of our process.
Wow. Wow. Man, that was good. So, y'all are just, again, you said so much. We got to realize that as people of faith, sometimes the myth is that when you come to a relationship with Jesus Christ, that your life's going to be a bed of roses. That as soon as you give your life to the Lord, that you don't face depression, you don't face anxiety. Everything is a positive report. And that's just not true. It's just not true. God never said that we wouldn't have challenges. He just said he would never leave us in the middle of those challenges. Right. And so that's why, again, I'm listening to your story, and it makes so much sense when the Bible says he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor with the Lord, because at this point, I don't think you all could have survived this absent of each other, right?
Right.
And I think that you finding your wife and you allowing yourself to be found was in some ways prophetic to what you all would eventually endure and what you all would need, right? Because Mario is what you needed for what you would experience, and Yvonna is what you needed for what you would experience in your life. So your faith has been tested. You've been having bouts with depression, anxiety. Minister Mario, you literally get up and run out of the room when your wife gets the diagnosis. You all began your marriage in tension, really. You're feeling rejected by Yvonna. Yvonna's maybe feeling rejected by God. Why did this happen to me? You know? Tell us how this entire process has caused your faith to be now strengthened on the other side of this. Either one of you.
Well, I think for me, it was really testing because everyone who knows me anyway, I'm always described as one who's full of joy. Even mommy still says today, I'm her happy baby. And because I feel like that's like automatically a label on me, being the happy one, the joyful one. I'm blessed with the joy of the Lord. I believe it, but it's like this anxiety and depression. It's like it came back again. I had it. It was prevalent then, back in like 2015, and then it recently came back. And at this point, I am on medication and in counseling, which it does work, church people, it does. And I feel like it's necessary for those who need it. The counseling, not necessarily the medication. But, and I'm sorry, this happens a lot, but what was the original question?
The question is has this strengthened your faith any?
Yes, I believe it has. Because, like I said in the beginning, it was hard, but as we get further in our marriage and in life, it's done nothing but strengthen us because we understand now and we've accepted that this is a process. It's the Lord's process. And I'm just like, when it gets tough, sometimes all you can say is Jesus. And I've had those moments when I'm literally in our bedroom on my face crying. You know, Lord, I don't understand it. I don't know why, but it's not for me to know. God, you know all things. Have your way and just let me know which way you want me to go. Do you, yes, no, maybe. I need that something.
Yeah. Awesome. Minister Mario, I remember your initial sermon, which by the way was really good. Put me in the game, coach. How would you associate all of this to God putting you in the game?
I would associate that of just being able to train yourself through your consistency, through your dedication, and your commitment.
Wow.
You know, in the sense of, you know, what I have to deal with, you know, I know that both of us are bivocational. You're probably quadvocational with all your responsibilities and different ventures that you know, have to, you know, keep managing on a day-to-day basis. You know, sometimes being bogged down with those day-to-day routines and also just, you know, having to be, you know, the man of the household, you know, and to be the husband, and to carry all of these things while also, you know, still carrying the burden that, man, I have to help lead people. Sometimes it can really weigh on you.
Yeah.
And for me, there's a lot of pressure that I have to deal with every single day that I walk out of the door. But it's my consistency of standing up to the assignment.
Yeah.
And it's my constant belief in honoring my commitment. And that was something that I learned early on in just serving in various positions within the ministry of, you know, I commit to something, I got to give it, you know, my full effort. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to know everything. But at the end of the day, it's just honoring that you showed up and that you gave everything that you could.
Amen. Awesome, awesome. So, Yvonna, you mentioned that you were in counseling.
Yes.
Okay. So, from your perspective, it's nothing wrong with having faith and having a therapist.
Yes, at the same time.
Amen. 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 And so, I really love the fact that your honesty about your emotions and how you have experienced this, because I think it's going to free a lot of people, because I think sometimes we have this figment of our imagination that we have to be perfect if we're Christians, that we can't go through things, that we can't go through depression, we can't go through anxiety, we can't have a therapist, you know, but the reality is that God wants us whole. He wants us to live a life of peace, and he gives us resources and tools to obtain that. And so part of your process is utilizing other tools. And so in conjunction with prayer and faith and the word of God. And I always know you're watching the sermons, even though we're online streaming now. I always know that you're on and you're getting your spirit fed spiritually. So all those things can work in tandem.
Yeah.
Can work in tandem for the best possible outcome. You all give us we're wrapping up, give us 3 pieces of advice that you would give for young couples.
Wow.
You want me to go?
Go for it.
All right. The first tip is to submit each of yourselves to God. You know, without God being the foundation in your marriage, you will have to face even more daunting, you know, battles, issues, anything that's just related to just a constant strife in your home. The second tip that I would give is to, you know, have fun. You know, I think, you know, sometimes people, you know, see me in the exterior of who I am, of being very serious and very stoic, but when we're around each other, we cut up.
We do.
And we just have a ball. We go and play video games. We may go out to a movie. We chill out with our friends, and we
dance a lot.
We dance a lot.
Randomly.
We're terrible at it, but we just really just let our hair down with each other. And the third thing is just to honor each other. You know, I always I never forget when I actually gave my first sermon. And it was actually 2 days prior to that, Yvonna had got terminated from her job.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is my very first assignment. And it's like, all right, there's a little bit more to the mix here, what you got to go through.
More process.
More process.
Yes.
And, you know, I remember just being very nervous that day. And I remember maybe 5 minutes before we went up and gave our sermons, and it dawned on me that this is the day that I proposed to my wife. And all of that brought a comfort to me, and all of that made me realize that in that exact moment that I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for her. Wow. And I'm just so thankful to have honored every single moment, the good, the bad, the downright ugly.
Wow.
And just being with her through life and through ministry.
Amen. Yvonna, 3 pieces of advice.
Oh, okay, just brought it back to me. Well, of course, I'm going to take his number 1, put God first. Put him first in all you do. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Because really, ultimately, that's the end goal, right? For all of us to get in. So definitely, that's number 1. Number 2, respect each other. It's important that the husband gets respect, but it's also important that the wife gets respect. And let me see. Patience.
That's a good one.
I'm pretty good with patience. That's my fruit. Right next to joy. He's still working on it. But patience definitely when it comes to all things. And I feel like this is the 4th one. You definitely asked for 3, but communication, definitely.
Yeah.
Very
Wow.
important, necessary.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So we're gonna wrap this up with a little game.
Oh yeah.
I've always wanted to be a talk show host. So let's wrap this up with a little game. So I'm gonna ask you guys a few questions.
Okay.
And you point to the person that is the answer to the question. So for example, who's the better cook?
Oh.
You. Okay. So y'all got the hang of it?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So who's the better cook? Okay. Who has the better playlist? Okay. All right. Road trip. Who's driving? Okay. Road trip. Who's got the charge of the radio? Okay. All right. Friday night. Who picks dinner?
I'm tired of pointing myself.
I know, but it's true. Because I'm at work, so I'm just like, figure it out.
Okay. All right. Let's see. One more. Who's the better dancer? Okay. Good stuff. Speed round. I'm going to say a word, and I want you to give me in 1-word answer. Okay. The first word comes to mind when I say this word. Okay. Yvonna, your word is love.
Oh, heart.
Heart. Okay. Mario, kids.
Masterpiece.
Ooh. All right.
Dancing.
Praise. That's the first thing I thought.
Okay. Marriage.
Endless.
Oh.
That's profound, man. Fun.
Children.
Okay. LeBron James.
MJ.
Well, look, Liberation Nation, I pray that you all have enjoyed this, This is an amazing couple. I want you all in the comments, give them some love, show them some love. Amen. They have a truly profound story, and it's my prayer that you are encouraged, that you are strengthened by these uncut gems. We love them, and I love you. God bless you all. Liberation Nation, wow, wasn't that an amazing interview? Listen, I know I enjoyed it, and I pray you did as well. But listen, as always, we want to give you guys an opportunity to give and to sow into your church home. Listen, Liberation is good ground. We believe in sowing and reaping. We also are a 100% tithing church. That's right, 100% tithing. What does that mean? That means that 10% of your increase, that is 10% of your income. Meaning, if you have $100 is your income, then you would give 10 to your church. And so we believe today that your giving is going to be a blessing to you and is going to help us to do kingdom work. So if you just look to the screen, you'll see the ways and the options that you have to give. I look forward to worshiping with you all again real soon. God bless you.
Wow, what a powerful testimony. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I pray that something said during this message encouraged you. Don't forget to tune in right back here tomorrow for midnight prayer at 11 p.m. Also, don't forget to join the Patricks on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Pastor Jay and Pastor Ashley will be going live right from their living room for some words of encouragement, and you don't want to miss it. Are you looking for an opportunity to get involved and join Liberation Nation? Well, guess what? We have a few opportunities for you to take that step. Being a part of a serve team has really just helped me to feel like family here at Liberation, and you can be a part of that too. Our marketing team and audiovisual team are looking for some amazing people to join the family. More information about these serving opportunities and other important information will land in your inbox tomorrow evening, so be sure to check your emails. During this time of social distancing, it's important to understand that it doesn't mean that you have to self-isolate. Make sure that you use this time to stay connected. Reach out to someone, send a text message, pick up the phone and call someone, but make sure that you're staying connected during this time. This month's sermon series just keeps getting better and better. Next week is the season finale, and we're going to hear another powerful testimony that you do not want to miss. Make sure that you join us here next Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Liberation RVA on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and visit our website at liberationrva.org to stay connected with us. Have a great week.